in and welcome back, as I guess that's kind of the general vibe of today's show. Anyway, our first run of the night is going to be slightly confusing, and I've seen this in chat, and I talked about it with the runner beforehand. D2 is not Diablo 2.
No.
That's going to be the thing. People, you see D2, no, this is going to be a weird Dreamcast game. So if you're thinking Diablo 2, no. This is very, very different. But that's going to be our first game, and it should be interesting to go into. It's not a game you see quite a lot, and it'll kind of dictate the vibe of the show going throughout the year. All right, anyway, that being said, let's go on to D2 with Punchy.
Hello everyone, I'm Punchy, and this is not Diablo 2. This is D2, a sequel to D, a Sega Saturn game by the late and great Kenji Eno. It's a direct sequel despite the fact it doesn't actually have any direct narrative connection to that game if you happen to have played it. And this is a... What kind of a game is D2? You know what, why don't we just begin and you will see what kind of a game D2 is. It's quite the trip. I will count you in, count of 3, I guess? Yep. 3, 2, 1, video games. So the basic premise of this game is that Laura Parton is on a plane going somewhere. It gets struck by a meteor in mid-flight and she crashes into the Canadian wilderness. That's the setup. That's the setup of the video game. And there are weird, spooky plant monsters everywhere. And the goal is, like, get off the Canadian mountain place. This opens with a fair few cutscenes. And no, this game has no relation to D4. That is a completely different game by a completely different person. Anyway, these are the indoor segments. They're controlled sort of on rails-like. I'm opening this cabinet to get a submachine gun, but every single, like, item pickup in this entire game is considered a cutscene and therefore can be skipped, which is interesting. But then you can free look using the Y button, and you need that to collect Shotgun Bullet. Shotgun Bullet will be important, because the shotgun is powerful, even though we're not actually going to get the shotgun for some time.
Is it only one?
It's like a pack, but for some reason it just says Shotgun Bullet. And this is the hunting mechanic. We're only going to use this once because the game forces us into it for tutorializing. Also, you're hearing Japanese voices because this is a Japanese copy of the game. The English copy of D2 is incredibly expensive. You will have to bear with me on this one. Hunting. I shot a bunny. I got 2 meats. We are going to collect 6 meats by default as a function of this hunting tutorial. It kind of just throws you into the hunting before it even really bothers to explain how the game works. But meats are a healing item, which is convenient for our purposes because that means we are forced to collect a certain minimum of healing, which makes the game pretty safe, relatively speaking. Relatively speaking. But okay, I have now shot 3 bunnies. Kimberly is very pleased with that's Kimberly, by the way. We're not going to see her all that much, but there she is nevertheless. And now we are in the game field. Let us walk around a snowy mountain in heels. That's a first aid spray. It's green. There are 3 kinds of first aid sprays, green, yellow, and red. It gets stronger as it goes. Like, yellow is stronger than green, red is stronger than yellow. You get it? Okay. Healing items. So, what kind of a game is D2? As we walk through, up the snowy hill in an effort to find a thing, something will eventually take place. Or maybe it won't, actually. It'd be good if it didn't. Nope, there it is. Guess what? D2 is an RPG. That's a random encounter. But it's not quite an RPG, right? Because battles take place as like a first-person shooter. But I have my trusty gun with which to sort of point and do the shoot thing. As one does. This is quite a rough first encounter to get, frankly. Oh yeah, also you turn with like... Oh, ow. Rude. Yeah, pretty rough first encounter. Anyway. You get experience when you win fights. And that eventually grants level ups. Leveling up increases your attack power and your maximum health. Right, we have entered this building. We don't actually really need to do anything here. But I'm going to do... That's the wrong thing to look at. Hang on. Give me Shotgun Bullet. It's important. I need that for later. All we needed to do right now was enter that building, and then we're going to walk all the way back to where we go. I say all the way back. We're just going to walk back. It's not that far. But there's a cabinet in there that's locked, and you don't need to inspect it. You just need to have entered the building for the game to go, oh, you know, you've tried to look at the cabinet, and your character now knows. It's the kind of game where the character needs to know that she needs to do something before you can do it. You can't just do it.
Right.
I feel like gamers, you understand how that works by now. It's that kind of game. There's games where you can do things before the character knows they need to do it, and then there's games that make you step through what the character needs to do in order. So you're getting one enemy, that's good luck, because it's easy to kill. But they're not worth that much experience. So, you do want level ups also restore your health to full, which is convenient. It negates the need for much healing throughout the run. Anyway, sorry.
For the enemies, are getting a spawn in general, is that RNG, or is it more of the amount of enemies that's RNG?
It's getting spawns is random, but it's not that random, if that makes any sense.
Right.
Like, you'll pretty much always get 2 encounters going to and back from that house back to the starting place. But what the encounters contain is a different matter. Like, enemy encounter type matters a lot more than how many. Because you generally get the same number, roughly. Can you get 3 enemies in an encounter? You can. You can, in fact, get a lot more than 3 sometimes. Although at the start, the encounters are pretty much only 2 at the start. It varies as you go. There's different zones you progress through. Also, in the plot right there, I spoke to Kimberly. She was napping on the bed. I grimaced at her. Laura does not speak in this game, by the way. She just kind of looks plaintively at people, and they sort of mind read her based on that. And so Kimberly interpreted, oh, do you need the key for the cabinet in that house up there? I have the key. Have it. So we now have a key for the cabinet that was locked. One enemy, that's pretty nice. If I can get it before it burrows under the ground. Yeah, just about like. There you go. That's the nice quick encounter you need. The submachine has infinite ammo, by the way. There's our first level up. I'm now level 2, and therefore slightly stronger, but more importantly, my health is now refilled.
So while you're looking up, there's still a couple more questions. One, is playing this in the Dreamcast at all awkward? I know you've done Illbleed in the past, but like, I know sometimes the controller's kind of a bit odd to me.
It's all right, I think. It's fine. I can make do.
And then the second question, which I guess is definitely the one I definitely been wanting to ask with this, wasn't D1 like a PlayStation 1 game that was like a point-and-click thing?
Yes, it is. It's a PlayStation 1 game. I think it was actually originally a Saturn game, but it got ported to PlayStation 1, Saturn. It got ported to Saturn, PlayStation 1, and then I think PC later on. You can actually get it on Steam under the name D the video game because Steam does not let you set a 1-character title ID. Really? Yeah, you can't.
I guess more importantly, have you played D1 and do they really connect at all?
No, they do not. I have played D, but they do not. The connecting tissue between the D games is that they use the same digital actress, which is a concept that Kenji Eno coined as using a sort of similar model for the protagonist in the game. Like, this character is Laura Parton, and the protagonist of the first D is Laura Lewis, I think? But they're both Laura, and they look the same because he uses the same character model between games. He came up with a very fancy way to justify asset reuse, basically. This is despite the fact that Laura also does not speak. So, like, no one's acting anything. I don't know what... Like, I can't understand the minds of these auteur game devs. They're up to something. Anyway, we opened the cabinet. We got a grenade, which we are not going to use until disc 4. This is a 4-disc game, by the way. And we also picked up a radio. And so we're going to go back to Kimberly, and she's going to turn on that radio, and she starts talking to us about her poetry. It goes on for some time. But once we are done with Poetry Hour, we can leave. Fortunately, this game lets you skip cutscenes. The joy of playing this game is really, like, I would say about half in the cutscenes, but also it's super wordy. It's like Metal Gear Solid type wordy. If you could not skip cutscenes, this run would be literally like 6 hours long.
Oh.
It's a lot. There's a lot of dialogue. Long scenes where characters just talk at each other. It's all kind of... It's interesting, but it's very long-winded. That cutscene I just skipped is the radio sort of does a little static noise at you, and it instructs you to come to the crash site. Because like I said, we were on a plane, and it crashed, but we haven't seen where the plane crashed. It's slightly further ahead. We just haven't had a reason to go there yet. If you go there too early, there's nothing to do. This is one of those games that follows a very sort of linear scripted sequence of events, so you gotta like sort of hit the flags. One encounter, that's pretty nice. If I can get him before he burrows, that should be easy. I've got level 2 now. Level 2 makes this easier. You've hit a power peak with 1 level up. So now I have to trek a sizable distance. This is where randomness comes into play heavily. This is an RPG, so randomness plays a fairly large, non-trivial role in how good your run is. Because, you know, encounters, they're random. Contents of the encounters are also random. Enemy behavior itself is also random. There's a grenade. We'll pick up Grenada. It says G-bomb on it. Grenades are very powerful. They basically just instantly win fights, and for the most part I stockpile them for use at the end of the game where the difficulty gets very sharp. Long cutscenes of people talking, but not the main character. Yes. People talk... I say long scenes of characters talking. It's more long scenes of character talking. Laura sits there and gestures. It's an interesting creative decision, to say the least.
He tries.
That's close to me. I heard that. There we go. Trying to avoid taking damage unnecessarily. Taking damage is slow, after all. Because getting hit causes your aim to, like, jerk wildly, so you want to avoid taking damage where you can. Alright, and the crash site is over here to the left. Laura doesn't speak in any of the loosely collected D games. Like, there's a game called Enemy Zero that also features, like, the Laura as digital actress type deal. But it's considered sort of like D1.5 as far as like the general genealogy of the series is concerned. And she does not speak in that game either. Dude just had a thing for silent protagonists named Laura. Don't ask me, I didn't make the game. We do get something to go with that grenadine. But all in due time. Yeah, I actually like this game's sort of hybrid RPG, FPS, random combat style type deal. It's a bit Parasite Eve in a sense, a bit. It's within that general ballpark. If you liked Parasite Eve, you might want to give this one a try. I think it's kind of similar enough. It's a bit less RPG than a Parasite Eve is, though. Ooh, 3 enemies, rude. That's not my definition of ideal. Get out me face. Also get out me face. Ooh, no hit. Sad. Oh, yep. That's a hit I'd rather not have taken, but oh well.
So, in addition to leveling up, is there any other ways of healing if anything goes wrong?
Yeah, you can either shoot animals for their meat, or you can use the first aid sprays you collect.
Oh.
Of which you generally get plenty.
That's
like, if you were like really balling very hard, like doing like super serious optimal world record attempts, you'd pick up no healing at all. Right. Because you start with enough to basically to complete the game with, more or less. But I will play it less crazy than that, because things can go wrong. Things can and do go wrong. It's an RPG. Right, boss fight. There's a boss here. I forgot to mention that. The weak point is not actually the boss, it's that butterfly flying around. Do you see it? It's very small.
Oh. It reminds me of the that one fight in House of the Dead 2 with the
Ow.
Zeal and Carl.
Ow.
Also, you're just getting...
Yeah, that happens. Don't worry about it.
Oh.
There's actually... You can't really stop that from happening. There we go. That was actually really good luck. The butterfly can disappear if it so desires and land on the top of your gun where you can't hit it, just to annoy you. But I got the good pattern where it just kind of sits there and lets me shoot it 4 times, and then it dies. And then Laura passes out or something. I don't know. She has like a vision. I'm not going to summarize the entire plot here. It's about everything, and honestly, it's a bit confused. It's about environmentalism. It's about philosophy. It's about humanity's place in the cosmos. It's about way too much. I'm just going to shoot plant dudes and leave.
She tries her best.
But yes, Laura has now passed out, and Kimberly like picks her up and brings her back to the starting place, and now we're back at the starting place again, but it's darker. That's how you can tell that progress has been made. There's also a snowmobile out front of the house. We can't ride it. Not yet. We'll get there. Unfortunately, we once again have to slug it walking through the snow in our heels. Why is it the butterfly? It is hinted that the butterfly is the weak point in the cutscene preceding the fight. It's just I skipped it, so. One encounter again, that's nice. Fortunately, after that boss fight, you get a free heal. Oh, actually, I didn't mention this because I forgot about it, but the other way you can heal is you can heal for free in any bed. If you walk up to a bed and interact with it in a building, Laura will take a nap. And then she'll wake up. This takes 2 cutscenes. Oh, cool, level up. This takes 2 cutscenes, and therefore you spend time skipping them, which means in a speedrun you don't want to do it. But it's a free way to get a heal at any point. And some story events, like the first boss, will force Laura into sort of like... She wakes up somewhere. And when she wakes up somewhere, the game deems that as like, oh, she slept, so it should refill your health. So it's pretty kind about that. It tends to refill your health after major boss fights like that. But okay, now we're approaching the sort of intersection. This is what I'd call sort of zone 2 of the first area. Like, where you are on the map determines the enemy encounters you get. Where I'm currently standing is what I will generously call zone 2. Ouch. And generally means enemies will start spawning in slightly higher numbers. I've become accustomed to these sort of zones via just playing the game a lot. It's not a thing the game makes explicit. This is just me sort of trying to explain vague concepts. What does D2 stand for? Wait till the end. D does in fact stand for something. Honestly, it's funnier with story context. I'm not sure it'll hit that hard, but I'm still gonna wait. I'll tell you what the D in the first D stands for. Spoilers for like a 20-year-old game. Well over 20-year-old game, actually. How old is the first D at this point? Whatever. Anyway, spoilers for what the D in the first D stands for. Put like a pan on your head and bang it very loudly if you don't want to hear.
All right.
The D in the first D stands for Dracula.
I couldn't get my headphones off in time. I tried.
Oh.
I tried.
Well, I've given you no context for that. The D in what D2 stands like... Try a sentence, Punchy. The D in D2 does not, in fact, stand for Dracula. It stands for something completely different. But I'll chat, you can guess. It has 2 Ds in it. That's why it's called D2. We are very clever. We're in sort of the quantum brow region of game development. Again, very much like a Metal Gear Solid. It's very Hideo Kojima-y. Where it's like the superimposition of clever and quite silly.
Apparently you're telling me it's Death Stranding 2.
Death Stranding 2. It's one word, not multiple words.
Oh.
Dude 2. Dude is a funny guess. It's got 2 Ds in it.
We have a lot of guesses in chat right now.
Dead, Daddy, that's 3 Ds. What are you on about?
That's what D3 will be about.
Double Dragon. Dodge. Metal Gear Solid.
Dad's Donuts.
Dream Drop Distance. Alright, this area is kind of like what I'd consider to be zone 3 of the area where these guys start showing up. They're green. That means they're stronger. Oh, he's like giving me the workaround. Oh, what a rude guy. And there's 3 enemies in this encounter as well, which is really unfortunate. Oh, good lord. None of that, please. That's pretty rough. 3 dudes and like beefy dudes at that, but that's the roll of the dice. That's okay. Get a nice 11 experience out of it. Dodgeball? Doda. These nuts.
I think every other answer
I probably shouldn't be reading them all off.
Every other answer has had the word D's in it.
I shouldn't read off the chat just verbatim like that. I feel like I'm going to say something bad by accident. It's a dangerous game to play. But yes, the word that D2 stands for is a word that begins with D. It's got 2 D's in it. Well, I got another 3 encounter. Boo. These are rough because you can never quite predict which enemies are going to like try and attack you first. You basically just have to guess. Like, I'm going to get hit by this no matter what I do. Or maybe I'm not, because that cancelled. No, never mind. I spoke too soon. Got kicked in the head for it. Oh, the rudeness of it. I'm not going to heal, because I reckon if I win this fight, I get a level up out of it. And that will heal me back to full.
Also,
there
a very
prediction.
Timely question. Do you know if there's any differences between the Japanese version and the North American version?
As far as I know, absolutely 0.
Okay.
As far as running the game is concerned, 0.
Alright.
All the puzzles are the same, all the content's the same, all the balancing is the same as far as I know. I've played it both ways, multiple times in fact. Why have I played so much D2?
You're the only person I know who's played D2.
I'm the only runner of this game.
One of one.
One of one. I'm gonna get hit for that, because I don't have enough damage to kill this guy in one go. That's fine, though. You see, my maximum health is now like 50, which is a lot from... I started with like 21, so now this game paradoxically gets like slightly easier as it goes. Like, the start of the game's really rough when your max health is really low. You can die to a bad random encounter without too much difficulty. You get a couple of level ups in your system, though, and the game gets a lot safer. That's mostly the start. Anyway, we were coming up here to get in a truck. We found a truck. There we go. I'm going to open the glove box, which is, again, its own cutscene, which is jarring. I just want the shotgun bullet. I'm going to call it shotgun bullet. I'm respecting the way the game stylizes it. And now I'm going to crash the truck directly into a gate. You are not going to see this, because unfortunately Laura, takes ages to get the car started. But nevertheless, she crashes the thing straight through the gate. Just straight through it. Also, there was a gate here for us to crash through. This lets us access the mining facility, which we cannot actually go into right now because the elevator downwards is password locked. And the password is generated randomly. But I want that shotgun bullet. We just have to go in here and, acknowledge that we cannot go into the building before it'll let us leave. I'm struggling with the controls, send help. Give me that first aid spray. There we go. Okay, now that we've been in there and we've confirmed that we cannot go down the elevator, we will now fight boss number 2. I call this one the bird boss. You will figure out why shortly. It occasionally becomes vulnerable with that little plant coming out of his crotch. It's a metaphor. See if you can guess which kind of metaphor. Don't actually post it, you'll get banned.
What could it be a metaphor for?
I just don't know. It's too subtle. Oh, I'm gonna get hit for that because I wasn't paying attention. Get shot. So yeah, when it opens up, shoot it. Takes the damage. You can do sort of tick damage if you shoot it, even while it's not vulnerable, but it's not that much. Okay, so it has released a bird from his pocket. And the bird is big. This is good bird RNG. The bird attacks on our behalf, dealing massive damage.
Wait, what?
There are a number of things that can occur when bird appears. That's good bird RNG, when the bird attacks for you. But sometimes it can pick up the boss and fly away with it, and does a whole like loop-de-loop around the arena. That's bad bird RNG, because that just wastes time and doesn't do damage. I win. So good bird RNG saves us time. These boss fights have actually been pretty good on Disc 1 so far. Go me. And once again, Laura just like blacks out in the snow. Or is it? I guess it'd be whiting out in this case. Is there a technical distinction between the two? I don't care. We wake up in bed again. It happens. And we have an ID card from the old man's corpse, the bird guy. He explodes into birds when he's killed.
Are all the birds that large?
Only some of them.
Oh.
I don't know why. It's nighttime now. And the ID card we got off him was for a safe back in the very first house we went to, so we're going to go back there and acquire useful items. Was that a dove? It was a dove. He's full of doves. He's like made of doves. He's like a dove guy.
Well, like I said, that answers my question before I asked it.
He's full of... I don't know. He's just a guy that, like, explodes into doves. He's full of doves.
It's kind of like a
That's just his thing.
wedding.
His thing is that, like, okay, so, like, in the lore, he's a magician-type person. It's not like his profession, it's just sort of a hobby. You find, like, his personal affects, and one of his affects is, like, a stick that, like, flowers come out when you pull on the end, that sort of thing. You actually have to pick up the stick. I already picked it up earlier. It was in the cabinet alongside the radio. The game automatically picks it up for you. There is much going on here. Please give me this extra first aid spray. Okay, we have the E-card key, so we can open this safe. And in this safe is a radio, or a walkie-talkie, and a grenade, which I do not care much about the radio, although it's plot mandatory, so there you go. The grenade is important. I like grenade. And the shotgun. The shotgun is a strong weapon, but its ammo is limited. Also, the code for the thing is on the wall there, 1593. I actually need to write that down, because it's randomized from playthrough to playthrough, you see. Huh. It's always different. I've never seen that code before. I have like a little spreadsheet of all the code combos I've seen in an attempt to sort of deduce it down to a pattern. As far as I know, it generates every single digit, like, randomly, like Silent Hill 3 codes. So there's not, like, a set number of codes it randomly picks between, it just generates it. The only caveat is that it can't pick the same number twice. That's it. In the same number. They have to be different numbers.
Well, luckily chat's remembering for you. Also, that reminds me of a few other games that I learned recently. All I do is I get my phone, take a picture of it, and just keep that up.
I just have a text document. I just, like, type it out on my number pad while I'm playing.
Makes sense.
There are a few instances of needing to do that. Not the only time that the note document strat's gonna come up in the speedrun. Oh, you are too close to me for comfort. These guys will only attack when they're, like, right in your face. That was good. That was very good. I should also note that even if you know you can't know the code in advance because it's, like, it generates totally randomly. But I tested this on an emulator. If you look at your code and then load a save back to when you first get to the mining facility and put that code in, it doesn't work. The code doesn't exist until you've seen it. I tried a sequence break using that, because it would have been sizable if it worked. Because, you know, you could skip, like, an entire boss fight, basically, but no, it doesn't work like that. You can't do it that way. One encounter fight is good luck. That's pretty fast. Especially given that I'm now, like, level 4 or something. Almost level 5. You do in fact do more damage as your level ups roll in, meaning encounters get gradually more manageable. So what once took 2 clips will now only take 1, which makes churning through encounters a much simpler process. There's caribou bouncing around here. If I were to pull out my hunting rifle and shoot them, I could get like 4 meat for my trouble. This is the only map in the whole game where caribou spawn. But there's like an in-game achievement thing for killing like 200 of them or something. So I hope you like spending like 20 hours on disc 1 if you want to get that. Three dudes is pretty rough, but I got all of them pretty quickly. You remember me from GDQ. Does anyone know what he run there? You will have to be more specific. I've ran at it 7 times.
I think that might mean Chicory for the most recent one.
Yes, if you mean the most recent one, I ran Chicory. If you mean anything else, then God, I don't know. Grouse? There's grouse in this game. You can shoot them for 1 meat. Singular meat. I want to get rid of this guy as fast as I can because he's the more threatening individual in the fight. He's dead. Like, whereas these like inflatable car dealership wacky tube dudes, they just kind of hang out in the back sometime. That's what I think of when I see those enemies. I think of car dealership like inflatable tube men. Is that weird?
No.
Does anyone else see that? Yeah, once again we have to in fact walk all the way back up the snowy mountain to get to the mining facility to input the code that we now know. You still can't ride the snowmobile. Eventually you'll be able to ride the snowmobile for faster travel. Oh, that's a horrid place to get a random encounter. My head's in a bush. Yeah, dude. Foliage.
Oh.
No, okay, that was actually a pretty good random encounter. It was 1 dude. Those dudes are high value. They give 15 experience a pop. And are relatively easy to kill.
I'm having a question about the encounters. Can you actually move forward, or are you like locked into like a circular rail?
You're locked in place. When an encounter starts, you cannot move. You can only turn. And you can't run away from an encounter either. If you start a fight, you have to finish it.
Oh no.
There's no run option. If you could run, I'd be running from everything right now. You have to win the fights. Oh, didn't manage to get it before it went underground. Rude. Oh, the rudeness! The rudeness is off the charts. Please stop shaking, Laura. I have bills to pay. I didn't get the other guy. Oh well. Well, any day now. There we go. But that's an example of an encounter that did not go so great in terms of time. Because I didn't kill the second guy and then he burrowed under the ground. It's like, well, I'll be here when you need me. Oh, that was fast. 1 guy? No, that's 2 guys. That's a 2-guy kind of moment. Kenji Eno predicted speedrunning. Kenji Eno made a game that you have to finish in 90 minutes.
Which one?
The first D.
Oh.
It has a time limit, like a real time limit. If you do not finish the game in 90 minutes, the game just ends automatically.
Do you get an ending?
The bad ending, but yes.
Huh.
You can save anywhere. There are no explicit save points. If you just open the menu, you can save the game. A thing I will probably not do, because I like to live on the edge. There's no real, like, danger points for the run, is the thing. There's nothing I'd be like, oh, I need to save here in case I mess this up. It's like, no, I'm probably good to go. Right. I have code. Check out this interface for putting in codes.
Oh,
Laura's
God.
big finger.
Oh god,
Individually.
That reminds me of, oh lord, that's like Overblood.
Yeah. It totally is like that.
Is it just as awkward, or is it like...
It's pretty awkward, yeah.
Oh,
it's
no.
like it's not super responsive. But okay, this is a unique segment of the game because I'm now in the first person. This is the only point of the game that works like this. I'm exploring a cave, and I have a flashlight somehow. You don't pick up a flashlight, so I don't know where that came from. And we have to navigate a cave system. We do this by the signs on the ceiling that gradually indicate our depth. And you do still get random encounters down here, and they're like minor dudes with pickaxes. Fortunately, I only got one, though. One is good luck. Sometimes you can get two, and that's very inconvenient. It's important not to get turned around, too, when you get random encounters, right? You'll always be set after the encounter at the original direction you were facing when the encounter started. An encounter will not turn you around. If you're moving forward, you keep moving forward. Oh, this is a two-guy kind of situation. Oh, and they're on opposing sides, too. That's really awkward. I'm just going to commit to trying to rush one of them down, and if the other guy hits me in the back of the head, then so be it. Yep, sure did do that. That's my general game plan for dealing with, like, awkward enemy placements like that, is just commit to killing one of them and let the other guy bonk you in the back of the head. If you try and split your attention, what tends to happen is that both of them bonk you in the back of the head. Anyway, this is our goal. This room here. This tiny room over here. Give me the shotgun. I'm collecting. There's a sign there that says, notice, don't be caught. Can do. Get another first aid spray. I thought that was yellow. It's not. Don't really need any more greens, but fine. You know, extra safety. The number of encounters you get is semi-random, I would say. Anyway, there's 3 lunchboxes here. The last one is the only one I care about. It's got shotgun shells in it. One of them has an enemy inside of it, so you really want to avoid that one. And let's collect some gas. Gas for our snowmobile. That was the goal of the chapter. The endeavor was to collect gas for our snowmobile because our snowmobile is out of gas. Now we can use the snowmobile. However, now I gotta skip a few cutscenes and also get ready to rip the headphones out of my head because this is a disc transition. It's a multi-disc game. I'm leaning away from the microphone. There it is.
Quick, while he's changing discs, type your favorite letter.
Okay. That's in. It's done. We're on disc 2 now.
Hey. So how often do you gold split the disc swap?
The disc change. I do, in fact, have a unique split for the disc change.
I've had that for Galarians, and it sucks seeing myself lose like 10 seconds to a disc swap. It sucks.
Dude, RTA speedruns are great.
They're terrible.
Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, we have rode our snowmobile to a completely new location on the other side of the mountain. We're going to try and use a bathroom, but the bathroom goes to the edge of a cliff. There's no bathroom there. It's just pit. And then Laura nearly falls to her death trying to go to the bathroom. And then she comes back from nearly dying. It's like Clock Tower. Like, you know the end of Clock Tower 1 where you try to open a door and it just leads to nowhere?
Yeah.
It's like that. And then we end up tied to a chair because Kimberly does that. Kimberly has tied us to the chair.
So I've seen a few of these questions asked. Does D2 stand for Disc 2?
No. And now we're fighting evil Kimberly. She's become a plant monster. The weak point here is technically her head, but it's like really unresponsive and not very good. So like it doesn't work half the time. I got it there. Ow. This, I think, is the most volatile boss fight in the game. With good reason. Because trying to hit the weak point is inexact. Yeah, I definitely hit her in the head a whole bunch, and it definitely just did not react to that. That's the Kimberly boss fight for you. There we go. The blinks of low health warning me. There we go. That will do. Her weak point is more of an art than a science. Theoretically, it's her head. In practice, it doesn't seem to work about half the time. I don't know. It's kind of whack.
Also, I saw this question earlier in chat. Yes, the run is live. However, chat is pre-recorded. And that's, I think, the first time I get to say this year.
Chat is pre-recorded. Right.
And they are.
We fought evil Kimberly, but that was a doppelganger Kimberly, and it wasn't the real Kimberly. The real Kimberly is okay. She's right here. She's fine. And then real Kimberly, like, passes out, and there's also a grenade behind us. I'm going to pick that up and do that real quick. And now we're going to leave. We're just going to let Kimberly and Janny sleep on the couch there. Janny is a character who exists. She was introduced in one of the cutscenes I skipped at the end of Disc 1. She's a small child. Her role in the plot is small child. That's all you gotta know. Okay, now we can leave. And now we can ride a snowmobile. Yes. Finally, fast travel, relatively speaking. Here's the problem, I can't drive. How much faster that was to get from location to location, although I've parked the snowmobile in a really inconvenient place. There we go, get inside the building. But we must solve a puzzle in order to open this facility. Check out this puzzle. I have solved the puzzle. It's a binary puzzle. It's like binary, but there's only like 3 choices, so I don't know. It exists. There it is. Kimberly's corpse is over here, but it's like a second Kimberly. That's a thing that'll keep happening. Over here on this shelf, more shotgun shells. It's imperative I collect as much shotgun shells as I can up to this point. But not so much health. I'm pretty good on health. And another binary puzzle. One, 2. Binary 7. It's nice of them, they just write the solution on the thing. And now there's a giant bell. We're going to press the giant bell. It will give us a number. I now need to remember that number because that's a unique passcode for a different location in the video game. If you hit it again, it will change the number. That was 181588, right? Yeah. And once again, that code is generated totally randomly and is unique every playthrough. In fact, if you just keep pressing the button, it'll just keep generating random codes over and over again. Alright, now that we're in Disc 2, the enemies get stronger, so I'm going to swap to my shotgun. Where's the... Oh, I guess if you park the snowmobile directly outside the door, it moves it. I didn't know it did that. But I kind of want to move it over here. And I'm going to be very gentle about this, because if you get the bike stuck in the corner, there isn't a way to get it back out, and you're kind of screwed. Which is not very fun, but I want these shotgun shells. Or shotgun bullets. Oh, good lord, that was scary, because I almost got it stuck in the corner. Hey, okay, moving on. Moving on, going places. On the snowmobile. You can still get encounters on the snowmobile. I didn't say it stopped random encounters. These beefy dudes are the reason the shotgun comes into play here. These guys have a ton of health, and we have just arrived in Disc 2 at level 5. So the fastest way to kill them by far is just hitting them with the shotgun twice. I cannot overstate that that fight would have taken like 5 times longer if I didn't do that. The shotgun is a useful tool here, but its ammo is limited and therefore has to be managed over the course of the video game. That is how the run works. And these enemies as well, I'm going to kill them using shotgun, because they outpower us right now, quite significantly. So the only way to sort of make up the deficit is by way of shotgun. Otherwise, they will slap us around and be generally massive nuisances. There, got a level up out of it, so my health is now back to full. That's also a useful reason to use the shotgun here. Oops, bumped the wall. I can't drive. I can't drive anything in real life. Never let me drive anything. Another 2-guy moment. Oh, you're a bit close, aren't you? Oh, rude. No, sit down. Well, it still only took 4 shots, so it's fine. I didn't waste any ammo. 21 experience a pop. On the way back, it's a lot safer, because on the trek upwards, you gain a lot of experience. I also want to park here. You may have seen a small black dot on the ground as I ran by, or maybe you didn't, because you're not, like... I don't know, you don't have the game memorized? There's a grenade here. I want it. It's important. I think I'm gonna get one more encounter before I hit the door. Yep, there it is. This is an unusual enemy set. Go away. I don't think I've ever actually seen that variant of, like, the inflatable tube guy before. Because I think it only spawns around this door. You don't have a reason to hang around very much. Oh, I'm stuck on snowmobile. I've got to walk around it. I tried to press A to open the door and it overlapped with the snowmobile. Why? You have 4 buttons on this controller, please. Why does every Dreamcast game only use 2 buttons when they have, like, 6? Anyway, moving on. Once again, we will use the code that we generated from the bell to open the door. Can't find the name of the game. It's D2. Doesn't stand for anything. It's just called D2. It's just his name. It's not Diablo 2. It's D2. Hey, we're now in an observatory. We are observing Tori. I don't know what that means. There's a dying plant dude in here. We're going to talk to him. And he tells us to get a flamethrower from a cabinet nearby and burn him to death. We agree to do this. It's inside this locked cabinet. Laura resolves the problem of the locked cabinet by punching it open. She punches through glass and picks the flamethrower up.
I mean,
and then burns everything to death.
More games did that.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I thought it was going to be like a puzzle, you know, I have to find a locked key, you know, I got to unlock the cabinet. She punches through it. She punches through the cabinet in a scene that still takes too long to be funny. Otherwise, I would have shown it. Kind of took me off guard that she just punches through it the first time. Anyway, now we go back. We now have a flamethrower, and sadly we can't use it in combat. It's a puzzle item. It's not classed as a weapon. Like, go figure, right? That's video games for you. Die. Why did you take 3? 4? What is this behavior? Nah. This guy has become invincible. I'm not wasting a single more shotgun shell on that guy. Why did he take 4 hits? That's not supposed to happen. I disagree. Game is wrong. Moving on with my life. That should take 2 at maximum. But I'm level 7 now. That means I can actually swap back to the submachine gun to conserve my shotgun shells for disc 3. Because now that I've got a few level ups under my belt, I'm stronger. And thus the submachine gun becomes more viable, although it doesn't become so viable that dealing with 2 of these guys is an appealing proposition. Oops. It should still be okay, but that's like a rough enemy set to get. Yikes, says I. Maybe I should have stuck to the shotgun. Yeah, you see how I was shooting that guy constantly using all of my bullet and he still just kind of walked up and hit me in the face? That's D2's combat. You will just get hit sometimes. That was pretty bad. Oh well. That's RPGs for you. That probably would have gone smoother if I got a different set of enemies. Kind of I just wasn't expecting to get 2 of the big bulky dudes. That's a very late encounter. But see, this is a much more convenient encounter. It's one guy. A real one guy moment. And the one guy is not hard to deal with at all. Where was that encounter when I needed it? Leveling in this game increases your attack power, as in your bullets just do more damage, and it increases your maximum health. I'm okay, if you say so, video game. I don't believe you, but fine. Oh my god, forget it. Get back on the snowmobile. Drive. Thrilling. D2. It's janky. Anyway. Now that we have the flamethrower, we can access the underground compartment in this facility that we previously couldn't get to because it's frozen shut. This is the use of the flamethrower. It's not a combat weapon. It's used to open a door. This thing. And now we find a Botanical Research Lab underground. But it's cold down here. And there's some information about Laura's family written on the board. And then she gets locked in and freezes to death. That's not a joke. She's dead now.
Oh.
Disc 3.
So why are there so many discs?
I don't know. I didn't make the game. Well, okay, let me actually answer that properly. It's because it's full of voice acting that I'm skipping.
Oh.
But like I said, it's like several hours of like people talking at each other. But now we're in disc 3. Laura died, but she reincarnates and reappears as like out of the sky on top of this guy's car. His name is Parker.
Is it because he parked his car?
Why are we friends? He says these things to me. Every day.
That's not even the worst one.
I have to put up with this every day. Okay, don't pick up the grenade yet, otherwise you can't pick up the shotgun shells, because it's a free look item. Okay, now we're in disc 2, and this is someone else's house entirely. This is not Parker's house, this is just where Parker has been staying while everything's been going wrong. Laura died and reincarnated or something. That happened. That totally just happens. Like, she actually just dies and reincarnates, but she gets better. It's fine. It's not even the only time that'll happen. You need to try and check upstairs. You knock on the door. There's like a reclusive musician up there who tells you to go away. So we go away. But you do in fact have to check that the musician exists. And now we need to try and talk to Kimberly again. Not Parker, just Kimberly. She's the very important one here. So we try and talk to Kimberly, and then Laura decides she's very tired and goes to check on Janny, who is sleeping and is also here this whole time. We are shown a scene of someone in like a black cloak walking up a mountain with a giant red eye in it. The mountain is called Death Mountain. That's just what it's called. We're gonna go there later. And now we can get on with our lives. We can actually start exploring the surrounding new area of Disc 3. Once again, I'm going to swap to the shotgun because the enemies here receive a power boost again now that we have immediately gone into Disc 3. So we're a little under-leveled right now because, you know, RPG speedruns. Hence, we're going to use a stronger weapon until we can get some levels under our belt. And another thing that will happen that will make it easier for us to deal with all of these encounters. But for now, it's shotgun. Oh, actually, there might be a walking TV around here. No, didn't spawn in. I'm not going to explain that sentence, because it might come up again later, and I'll explain it if it does come up again later. Oh, that's a rough draw. 3 big dudes! You hate to see it. Yeah, that's not very nice. That's very unnice, in fact. Oh, he didn't die in 2 hits either. Very unnice. How'd I hit the guy in the back? What is this musical chairs nonsense? Oh, he did... Wait, is he dead? Who's dead? Who's dying here? I'm confused. Well, they're gone now. Whatever. That should give me lots of experience. Yep, nice 60. Instantly leveling up. You'll level up very quickly at the start of Disc 3. As long as you use the shotgun. If you try and use the submachine gun, encounters will take forever and you'll get pasted. You'll burn through your healing supplies very quickly. What's D2? This game. It's called D2. I don't know how to explain it any better than that. That's just what it's called. It doesn't stand for anything, it doesn't mean anything. That's just what it's called. I think I'm only going to get 1 encounter on the way to the church, which is very good RNG, because I don't think it can spawn anymore from here. Touch wood. This isn't wood, but I touched it. Yeah, only 1 encounter. That's very good luck. Getting only 1 encounter from musician's house to priest's house? Good. Very nice. It's random, but only, like, it's... Generally, you only get 1, but you can get 2, and it sucks if you get 2. I've even had 3 once, which is very rude. But there is, like, a certain sanity check applied to the encounter rate. Like, it can't just tick over all the time, you know? And there's also, like, a flaw. You're always going to get 1. I've never seen 0. Anyway, we've spoken to Priest twice. He tells us some vague-sounding gibberish. And that's our lot. We have achieved a story event for that. Like, a flag has been set. We can make progress. Is there a D one? Yes, it was just called D. It's called D the video game on Steam. Open Steam and, like, type it in. You'll find D the video game. That's the first D. It's a point-and-click adventure game. It is nothing like D2 at all. Ooh, 1 guy moment. That's good luck. Although this camera angle is not really doing me any favors. I got hit before I even had control. That is incredibly whack. Get out of here. That's not fair at all. I got hit before I had control. I'm salty. I'm very salty. Literally before Laura had even pulled her gun up, I got hit. Do you mind? It's because the encounter spawned on the stairs. I tell you this for this game, encounters can spawn anywhere, right? Which is novel, because it means the playfield can be anything when you get into a fight. But it also means enemies can spawn in very interesting places when elevation gets involved. See, there's the more traditional 2 encounter. Another 1 guy moment. These, like, the encounter sets are good, but the enemies that are spawning... No, that's pretty good. Only 1 shot from the shotgun. That's pretty fast. 30 experience is a nice reward as well for 1 shotgun bullet. I'm calling it a shotgun bullet. I don't care how wrong I am. And back to the musician's house. Are there different difficulty levels? No, there is only just the mode. It's just the game. That's all you get. I'm sorry. Oop, wrong button. Only move and look in certain directions, but now we're gonna go upstairs because the musician's room is now open to us. Parker's gone, don't worry about him. It doesn't matter. Janie is still hanging around, and again, don't worry about her. She can look after herself. We can now go in the musician's room. It's time for my favorite kind of puzzle in a horror game. But first, we'll pilfer some nonsense from this shelf. More shotgun shells for my purposes. Get this yellow first aid spray. It heals 50. And now we're going to do a piano puzzle. Everyone loves piano puzzles. I didn't do it correctly. Oh! If you didn't hear what the puzzle was, because it happens in like literally like a second, it played a very brief diddle-diddle. You have to mimic that.
Wait, is it like exactly the same tempo too, or?
No, you can play it one note at a time, but still, you have to mimic the thing, and I have no sense for it. I have to write down the numbers. Anyway, we've opened the secret room and we find a semi-automatic rifle and a key. But the semi-automatic rifle is the more important thing. The semi-automatic rifle is basically a strictly better version of the submachine gun we've been using for most of the game. It's the power boost we need to sort of get through most of Disc 3. It's rough going in Disc 3 until you pick up this weapon. And like the submachine gun, it has infinite ammo, so it's just, once you have it, the submachine gun is useless. Although it's not replaced, it's still in the inventory, it still occupies space. But, okay. Now we have a better weapon. We can start making some headway. And change to our new and improved Submachine Gun Plus, as the game calls it. There are only 4 weapons in this game, and I'm not going to pick up the 4th because it's useless. So this is our weapon loadout for the rest of the game. We have our infinite ammo Submachine Gun Plus and our shotgun, which I pull out when the power level sort of starts to get ahead of me. Which happens at the start of Disc 2, the start of Disc 3, and pretty much all of Disc 4. Now that we have a key from the musician's safe, we're going to head to a new location, because we can go in now. We have a key. We have a key for a place. 3-dude moment. Maybe I should stick to shotgun. Oh well, I've committed to this decision now. It takes too long to pull out the shotgun. Ouch. Why would you turn like that? Oh, barrel roll! What a move! He's pretty good. Oh, good lord, I almost died. That was kind of scary. I probably should have just used the shotgun. Oh well.
The single shotgun bullet.
Probably should have used the shotgun. That was unlucky. Normally, swapping back to the submachine gun is fine, but also normally you don't get 3 of the beefy dudes in one encounter. Yikes. But that's fine. I pick up another first aid spray there to replace the one I just used. That's my safety.
So actually, as a quick question as well, does D2 play like any game that you can like relate it to?
Not really. Like, I think the closest analog is Parasite Eve, but the combat doesn't really work anything like this.
Right.
But it kind of has the same sort of, like, enemies in arenas, and you use gun, and it's kind of horror-themed. Got that whole aspect going for it.
I definitely know a lot of the Dreamcast horror games are kind of unique in that way, where there's not really a lot of games quite like them.
There's definitely not much like D2. I will say that in its favor, D2 is not a boring game in terms of how it's like laid out and structured and presented. Yeah, the walk animation is interesting because it's constantly trying to deal with shifting terrain. Like, everything sort of, the ground has, like, weird contours and what have you. Let me tell you, the challenge of how to get a character to animate walking up a slope is still a struggle to this day. Don't go underground. I'm preventing him from going underground by just getting those little shots in every time. Like, getting him on the top of the head. I think I'm not going to reload in time for that one, though. Disappointing. There you go. These enemies are much easier to deal with the Submachine Gun Plus, and they reward reasonable experience. I've now gained 2 levels in a very short span of time. Can you go out of bounds or skip anything? I skip some story events that are not necessary to advance the game. Some of them just are not required, technically. Like, I have bypassed a number of events by going directly to Martha's house straight after I got the key, instead of, like, talking around first. So you could call that a skip, but in terms of, like, out of bounds, no, I haven't found anything yet. There, we go to Martha's house. Martha is a woman who wears an eye mask. But otherwise, she serves us tea and is perfectly pleasant, and then we leave. Do people sometimes mention you look quite a bit like musician-comedian Tim Minchin? No, but that's the funniest thing anyone has compared me to so far. I will take that. I like that one. Right, now that we have met Martha, we can go back to the priest place. This is a lot of sort of like running back and forth between locations to activate story flags. It's a little unfortunate given that we have not unlocked the fast travel for disc 3 yet. Oh, hello. Aim better, stupid. There you go. I'm gonna get hit. Oh, kicked in the face. We traded, that's fine. He's pretty good. He's pretty good. We traded, but I won the trade. 60 experience. We have moved a significant distance from where the plane crashed at this point. We have ridden on a snowmobile, like, through the mountains some considerable distance. We're in a completely different location now, but it is all still a snowy mountain that sucks. And we would like to not be on the snowy mountain. That's our like, overarching goal for the whole game, is escape the snowy mountain. And we go about this by meeting strange characters and having them spout their entire life's philosophy at us, and then dying, and they tend to leave you a key when they die. Oh, there we go. Funny character spawned. Weird dude. I'm going to lose some time to walk over to look at that. Ah, 3-guy moment again. This is not the nicest set of enemy encounters you could possibly draw. I also didn't even hit half those shots, which does not help my case. But my level ups have made this much easier. Yep, didn't even get hit. That was fortunate. A nice level up, now level 11. Alright, observe the strange dude. Look at him. Look at her. Fabulous. That happens if you have save data from a previously cleared file of D2 on your VMU. There are 2 VMUs plugged into my controller right now. I don't know which one has the data on it. Those are characters from one of Kenji Eno and his company Warpink's previous games. I forget which one. It has a really hard to say name. It did not get released outside of Japan. The information was on Japanese Wikipedia. Can't remember now, though. It's like a first-person sumo wrestling game that he made. I think that's where those characters are from. can change weapons in the middle of a fight, yes. There's like an animation for putting it down and taking it back out, so it loses time, and if generally you're gonna get hit for doing it. So I would like to not swap weapons if I can help it. Alright, back to the priest. We talk to the priest. Now that we've met Martha, he tells us again some vague mumbo-jumbo, and then we leave again. If you're noticing a pattern, well, don't, because that's actually the last of the random mumbo-jumbos that we're going to get from the priest. But you have to do these things. You have to do these things to advance the game. I spent many hours of my life figuring out the exact minimum of how many times you need to walk to these places and talk to these people to give birth to progress. You definitely have to do this. Is it technically an NG Plus run? No, there's well, I guess so. But no, actual game information is carried between, this game has no New Game Plus feature, basically. You can't carry levels or ammo or inventory or anything like that. That only happens just because the system file on my VMU recognizes, oh, you've played the game before. Spawn a weird dude in on your next playthrough. It has no effect on the run. It's just there. Just a thing that appears. It's different every playthrough. Sometimes it's a TV rather than whatever that was.
Oh.
The character changes. There's 3, I think, that appear.
Does this game do the weird thing that I know a lot of PS2 games do? Where it's, if you haven't played the game at least once, you can't skip cutscenes?
You can skip them on a new playthrough.
Okay, cool.
It's just, you have to double tap B. That's the only requirement, is it's a double tap. You don't need a completed playthrough in order to skip cutscenes, which is very handy. Can you hunt the weird dude? No, you cannot. I tried. I did. It'd be really interesting if you could. I wonder what kind of reward you'd get, but no, they're incorporeal as far as the game cares. You can't manipulate spawns like with Final Fantasy. I have not found a way to do so, no. There are many dudes up in my grill right now. This is not ideal. There you go, level 12. I've become stronger yet again. Is running the first D possible? Yes, I don't do it though. Some people do. It's a point-and-click adventure game. You can run it like any other point-and-click adventure game. The question of RNG manipulation is a vaguely interesting one, but also you can't just sort of do it. I can't just pull that out of nowhere, you know? I need to sort of really go in deep and figure out the true nature of the game's random generation to sort of suss that out, and that's a very tall endeavor.
I do have good news. Apparently, there actually is variance, and it's not just a tied world record for D1, D the game.
Yeah, it's a primarily FMV game, right? So a lot of the animations are going to be canned, so the runs tend to come out to be quite a similar length, all other things being equal.
Yeah, it looks like world record's about a 30:05 for D1.
Hang on, sorry, let me check my notes. Okay. I had to make sure I was doing the right thing there, because otherwise I would walk all the way to a place and then realize, oh, I've come here too early. Oops, walk all the way back, waste 4 minutes. You would all hate me. Okay, we went upstairs, we went back to the secret room again, and the musician appeared, and he was all gross and plant-like and stuff, and he tries to kill Laura. And then Parker comes in and shoots them. So we've seen another event, and now we're going back to the priest's house. This is the longest disc in the game for what it's worth. Why is this game the same franchise as D? You mean they're completely different games? Well, they're made by the same people. They're part of the D franchise because the person who made them said so. And who are we to question Kenji Eno? I'm thinking about that comment that said, why did we hear the Halloween theme after every... Someone said that like minutes ago now. Why did we hear the Halloween theme after every fight? I don't know. It's an odd choice, isn't it? Enemy Zero runs would be insane. I've thought about that, actually. I'm engaging on a very casual basis with chat today. Exciting. I've thought about that. The problem is that you can't skip cutscenes in Enemy Zero. That's why I haven't done it.
Also, on that note, I guess kind of add more into it, and just to pry a little bit more, because I know you've ran a bunch of games. You've been on the show a bunch. You've ran a bunch of games. And this one's definitely one of the weirder ones. What would you say the weirdest game you've ran is, though?
Oh, dear. The weirdest game I've ran? That's a tall question.
It is. I know you've ran some weird games.
I think the most inexplicable game I run is probably a game called Revelations 2012.
You did that on the, I think it was our one of the other Hotfix shows we have here, the Awfully Silly one, right?
Did I do it for Awfully Silly?
I
think I did it for, I think I did it for Big Bad Gameathon, not Awfully Silly. But what did I do for Awfully Silly? I can't remember now is the problem.
Let me see
what
if
did
I can
do?
check. I should be able to check. I do have this information.
I did Revelations 2012 for something. Anyway, the priest is dead now. I picked up a key off his body. There's a bomb inside this chest. Like, it's just a time bomb. I have a bomb now. The other cabinet contains a handgun. I'm not picking it up. That's the fourth weapon. The handgun is useless.
It should have a pin of show. Oh, you ran 7 mansions.
7 mansions was Awfully Silly, right? Yeah. Revelations 2012 was Big Bad Gameathon. Revelations 2012 is like a bad Aztec-themed Left 4 Dead knockoff with kind of poor optics, but one of the strategies involves pressing the bespoke dancing hotkey. There is a key that makes the character dance. It's mapped to a unique button. It causes gravity to not work properly.
Oh.
It's great. That's probably the weirdest game I run. Like, by a country mile, Revelations 2012 is probably the weirdest game I run. It's free on Steam, so, like, you know it's no budget. So I run a lot of weird games, but I run mostly, like, console-published Japanese games. Ow. I'm gonna get hit by 2 dudes instead of 1. 2 hits for the price of none. Okay. I now have the bomb, and the place I'm heading to now is back to Martha's house again to start the boss fight of Disc 3. Or not the boss fight, it's just one boss fight. But first, another dude has appeared. I've never seen this dude before. Look at this dude. Ooh, that's a unique dude. Hang on, I'm totally messing around here, but I've never seen such a dude before. What a unique dude. Fascinating. Okay, moving on with the game. I hadn't seen that one before. I wanted to take a closer look. That's a new dude. I didn't pull the trigger. That's just the only way to get a closer look. Don't panic. Wouldn't shoot a cat in cold blood. I like how the dude's just like sitting there in the back. Hey there, man. How you doing?
And also, during this combat section, and since we did talk about some of the other games you've done, I guess a follow-up question leading into things, do you have any other fun future speed game plans?
I do, actually, but I'm wondering if I want to say it live or not, because if I say it live, people will hold me to it, and they will desperately hold me to it. I'm gonna do it, though. People are being good sports. I want to try and speedrun a dating sim.
Dating sim?
I want to speedrun Tokimeki Memorial.
I think I know that game.
Yeah, if you've seen Tim Rogers' like 6-hour video about it, maybe you've heard of it from that.
I have not. I think I may have heard through osmosis.
Some people in chat may have heard of it, so I'm going off what they might know. He's a reasonably popular like YouTube guy who makes very bizarre, long stream of consciousness videos about Japanese games. And I imagine he's where a lot of people have heard of Konami's seminal dating sim franchise from. I want to try speedrunning that. And that would be a unique twist. I want to try that. It's been on my bucket list for a long time, actually. I played that game before Tim Rogers even made a video about it. I am a Japanese speaker, in case that's not clear. Like, that's why I can do these sorts of things. You don't need to know Japanese at all to run, like, the Japanese version of D2 like I'm doing here. Like, all the text is in English. It does have full Japanese voice acting, though, and this game has no subtitles, annoyingly. In either language. Ooh, got him before he burrowed. Good effort. But I don't know if I'll get around to it immediately. But I always have, like, 6,000 games on my, like, speedrun bucket. You know how it is. I'm sure you know how it is in Dices.
Yeah.
We both have, like, 6,000 things on our, like, speedrun bucket list at any one time, and you kind of do them in a vaguely random order.
Usually whatever seems most accessible. I already have like 5 already on the top of my deck for even the beginning of the year that I wanted to do last year, but then I don't do last year because I forgot. It's how they get you.
Yeah, I do in fact like literally keep a list. I have it written down of like stuff I want to try working on next. I like iterate through the list.
Technically, I was supposed to be running Illbleed all the way back from, like, I think, like, 2018, but originally...
You're still trying to get a hold of that copy, huh?
Well, I have a copy, technically, and I was going to buy it from a friend at the next in-person GDQ. So I'm still waiting a bit.
Ouch. Okay, here, we're on the boss now. A boss. This guy has a name. I forget what it is, though, like, sincerely.
Is he already dead?
Ah! Ow. Wasted. That sucks. He's a big plant dude with a plant weakness spot. I just gotta kind of shoot that a lot and hope for the best. Oh, he's spawning bugs and I'm getting owned by it. Oh, I hit his weak point there. That was lucky. Hitting this guy's weak point is a very inexact science. I'm not completely sure where it is, honestly. You know, as if to taunt me, by the way, do you know SH2 Lock actually knows a lot about how D2 works? He was in my chat the other day, like, telling me, the boss's weak point is, like, here and here and here. It's got this much health and this does this much damage. I'm like, how do you know all this? Why do you know every game I play? What a guy. Where's the weak point? Ooh, that was good. Nice boss fight. Took a while, but we got there eventually. And now, Laura dies again. She approaches the defeated boss, and then it wakes up, and it kills her. So Laura has now died twice, as far as the story is concerned.
At this point, it may as well be died to. It could.
Oh. On rails, movement exploration. Alright, you have to talk to Parker before you leave, and oh my god, do not forget to talk to Parker before you leave. It's so painful if you forget. It's like 8 minutes in the crapper. Anyway, Laura has now died twice. We reincarnated a second time. That just happens. And now our goal is to head to the bridge. We found a bomb earlier in a cabinet, right? I glossed over that, but I think I did bring it up. And then we programmed the bomb because we're going to blow up the door blocking the bridge at the end of the mountain because we want to cross the bridge. So we're going to blow up the gate blocking it. However, we need to get there. But now we can use the snowmobile for this purpose, so that's lovely. However, the snowmobile does not mean we're immune to encounters. In fact, you still get them, and you get them about the same rate, even. I think it's based on distance rather than, like, time or number of steps. That's why I say, oh, this is a hairy situation. My health didn't even get refilled. Dying doesn't refill your health. Interesting. Okay, so passing out does restore your health. Dying doesn't. Good to know. That's how the metaphysics of the scenario work, apparently. That was a nightmare. Well, got a level up out of it, so there's my health back again. Lovely, lovely. All right, what was I saying? That's why That's why I keep saying encounters are random, but not that random, because it seems to be based on distance covered rather than like step count or just sort of randomly rolling every so often, you know? It seems to happen like every so much ground you cover, and you're going to cover roughly the same amount of ground in a speedrun no matter what you do, because you're trying to go fast, you know? You're always taking the same kind of paths. So you'll generally always get this roughly the same number of encounters-ish. There is variance, but that's what I mean when I say it's random, but it's not that random, at least in terms of how many you get. Semi-random, something like that. I mean, random is random as far as speedruns is concerned. The randoms could be minor, but if it makes a difference, then it's just random. And make no mistake, the randomness of the enemy encounter makes a very large difference to how D2 runs go. My PB for this game is 1:57, like 1 hour, 57 minutes, like on the dot. And it got quite lucky with enemy encounters, but it's not perfect, not at all, not by any means. It's still a bit, you could play much braver in terms of, like, not picking up health items and so on. So hey, if you want to pick up this game, I'm basically advertising that my time is beatable. Where's the shotgun shells? It's on the ground here somewhere. There it is. I was a hair too early there. I do still want shotgun shells for later, even though I'm using the submachine gun for now. Get shotgun bullet. Back on the mobile we go. Yes, the enemies are in fact mooing like cows. No, I do not know why. They do that. They make delightful sploosh noises when they get shot as well. I think that's the ring menu sound effect. A classic of Dreamcast horror speedrunning. They run in packs. Yes, now we are approaching the bridge, which we are going to try to blow up with the bomb, or at least we're going to plan to blow it up with the bomb. One guy? That's a good encounter. No, two... Oh, I spoke too soon. It's a two-guy kind of situation. So that's a pretty easy enemy set because that guy has, like, no health. Oh, but it would have been so fast if it didn't burrow back underground. That's disappointing. That was a lucky enemy set, but I didn't get so lucky with actually hitting. Geometry made that very unfortunate. But that's okay. For now, anyway, it's okay. I wish to debark here. Well, there are items to collect. Get me a red first aid spray. It restores 100 health. And this granada. I've now stockpiled about 9 grenades that I haven't used. They will be used in due time, rest assured. We find Kimberly's snowmobile here. There are 2 snowmobiles in play now. Kimberly's and mine. So we got all the way to the bridge, we met Kimberly at the bridge, and we're like, we could blow up this bridge with the bomb. And then we go back to the house, we are teleported back to the house, fortunately, and we start setting up the bomb. And Kimberly goes to blow up the bridge. And then Parker panics and is like, oh, I set the timer on the bombs wrong. Kimberly's gonna die if you don't rush over there and tell her to to just throw the bomb. So now we gotta ride all the way back to the bridge, but now there's a time limit. So do the thing you just did, but now with a number in the corner of the screen. Okay. Notably, there are also no enemy encounters during this section, and also no music. For some reason, this section just does not have music. I sort of feel like this is meant to have music, but, no?
It adds to the stress.
5 minutes is also a very generous time limit to do this in. Motorcycle, motorcycle. Chase! Motorcycle, motorcycle. Chase. It's not a motorcycle. Oh well.
Yeah, I always accidentally call them jet skis.
That'll work. Anyway, we got there with 3 minutes and 55 seconds to spare. We have saved Kimberly's life from nearly blowing herself up with a bomb because it was set to the wrong timing. And now Kimberly and Parker are mad at each other because, you know, Kimberly almost got killed because Parker made a mistake setting up the bomb. So we're going to go and comfort Kimberly by speaking to her. She's just being sad in bed. Mood. We also go to bed and have, like, a vision of some description. And now we skip a bunch of cutscenes. Parker goes to blow up the bridge, and does it by way of blowing himself up in the process. And Kimberly then also decides to blow herself up as well. So they're both dead now. And now we're back at the bridge. And now our goal is drive back to the house. So we were at the bridge, and then we were back at the house, and then it made us drive to the bridge again. And then now that we drove to the bridge, it took us back to the house, and now it teleports us back to the bridge, and tasks us to drive back to the house. Yeah. Yes. I understand perfectly. That guy got all up in my face. But so far, the status of the plot is that all our friends are dead and we are very sad about it. There are 2 dudes here. That is far too many dudes. They're like the bulky dudes too. That's not a very fortunate enemy encounter. But the second dude is just kind of flexing in the corner, so you know what? He can have as much fun as he likes. Sometimes they do that. Sometimes they just kind of, like, hang out. I feel like that guy's, like... He was just kind of doing push-ups there. He wasn't even really trying to attack me.
You kill them anyway.
I have to. I can't proceed unless I don't. I kind of felt like he was just sort of, like, gym spotting for his buddy. You know, I heard my Dreamcast rev up for an encounter. That's a funny quirk of running this game on real hardware, by the way, is that I can actually hear when an encounter's about to start because the disk drive makes a noise. I'm sure anyone who's played a turn-based RPG on a disc console knows what I mean by that. Maybe you don't. The kids of today don't know what that is, do they? Oh no! Oh man. I'm becoming old and annoying live on air on purpose. Oh, hello. I'm inside the floor. That was interesting. No, D2 is not in fact Diablo 2. It's a game that's called D2.
Fun fact, we looked this up, by the way, but right before the run started, D2 predates Diablo 2, so Diablo 2 is the ripoff of D2.
It came out first.
That's a fun fact. I wonder if D1 came out before Diablo 1.
I don't know.
I'm gonna look it up.
I feel like it probably did. The first D's really old.
I know D1 was 95, Diablo 1 was 96. Well, yeah, D is the original franchise. Although they're not at all related, they just had the letter D in them.
No, this is not a sweary game. This is a game made by Kenji Eno. That's not even the first time I've heard that question, which is really bizarre. Oh, good lord, don't do that. I almost crashed the snowmobile into a wall, and that would have been tragic. Obviously, Destiny 2.
Although I do have to wonder how many people clicked on and are enjoying this game after expecting Diablo 2.
I mean, I'll take it.
That was not my intent. I just like D2 and I think it's an interesting game.
You couldn't stop it if you wanted to. Do you know how often I get that on my own stream about this game? It's like, I thought you were playing Diablo 2, mate. It's like, no, playing D2 for the Sega Dreamcast. Like, there is no way to explain that any better than how we are currently explaining it. It's not D2's fault that some other popular game happens to, like, have the same letter in its title. Anyway, doing a boss fight now. We're fighting Martha. We met her once before. She now has wings and tentacles and what have you, which is not very nice of her. We just need to shoot her in the head. Unfortunately, it's another case where the weak point kind of doesn't take some majority of the time. Stop that. Yeah. I definitely hit her in the head. That doesn't stop it from not responding to that information. That's D2's combat for you. Weak point, head. Doesn't... There you go. The first bullet came out there. That worked. Martha did give us a cup of tea earlier, and then she turned out to be evil. Or sort of became infected with, like, the plant monster virus going on or whatever. Plays a violin, flies around, shoot her in the head a bunch. The tea lady is now dead. And we are moving on to disc 4. I'm not ready to change the disc. Oh no, where's my 4th disc? I'm mashing to skip cutscenes as hard as I can over here, dude. But I'm like bent over so I can open the disc tray. There's a lot of cutscenes at the end of this disc, huh? We're crossing the bridge. Disc 4! Irete kudasai! Disco 1個入れる. Okay, disc 4 in. My headphones... Hang on. I've ruined everything in the pursuit of disc 4. But okay, we've crossed the bridge that Kimberly and Parker both blew up with their own bodies, and we've arrived at a laboratory, because there's always like a laboratory at the end of horror games. It's tradition. And these are all extremely long-winded info dumps about, like, Laura's history and, like, biogenetics and stuff. Like, Laura's a clone, basically. Kind of. Vaguely, sort of. See, about clone technology, like, she's a clone of sorts. What happened in the skip scenes? A whole lot of nothing, to be perfectly honest with you. But anyway, now we're going to fight what I call the visual symbolism boss. See if you can figure out why. Very nice. And that's that, boss. Let us not speak of this any further. That was our mother that we killed. Our mother was like, became an AI robot type person of some description there for a moment. And in this cutscene, we're now in just sort of a hut at the base of Death Mountain. Janny melts. She melts. She becomes a puddle and disappears into the ether. She's gone now. I'm also going to sleep in this bed purely for like marathon safety reasons because I want to. That gives me my health back, basically. That's all that does. And now, our only goal for Disc 4 is to get to the top of Death Mountain. That's it. That's all you have to do. It's essentially a final dungeon type situation. And Death Mountain is full of death, you will be shocked to learn. First aid spray red, very handy. This is where all the grenades I've been stockpiling come in handy.
So, as a question for, I guess, I don't really know who this helps, but casually, What level would you be by the time you actually get here?
Probably not that much higher, honestly. Maybe a few, because you get like... Oh, missed. Completeness. Shocking. Probably not that much higher. The level cap in this game is not very high. It kind of converges at a certain point.
Because I was about to say, I imagine, you know, it's always interesting to see the difference in casual play and speedrunning, but the amount of people who probably casually play D2 in the chat right now, and even on the stream, you can probably count within 2 hands.
Yeah.
I'll say as well, for anyone who's a D2 fan and was excited for D2 today, there you go.
Okay, so once you get 2 enemies in an encounter, this is my rubric for getting through Death Mountain, because all the enemies are bullet sponges and hit really hard. If there's more than 1 enemy in the fight, throw a grenade. That's what a grenade does. You win. No questions asked. I'm level 16, right? I think the level cap is 30. And I would wager a casual player is probably more likely to be like level 20 or something by the time they get here, so not like that much further up, but... Okay, when there's 1 dude in the fight, swap to the shotgun to conserve your grenades, because you don't have, like, that many. You'll get into way more than 8 fights on your way up Death Mountain. That's my rubric. When there's 2 dudes in the fight, lob a grenade. When there's 1 dude in the fight, pull out the shotgun. Because you'll kill it relatively quickly with the shotgun. And you generally hope that you reach the end by the time you run out of grenades and shotgun shells. That's how it works. The resource routing is such that this is generally the case, although there's wiggle room because obviously I can't predict what the encounters will contain. But otherwise, Disc 4 is essentially one very large climb up a mountain full of things that are very hard to kill. Like, that's a 2-dude moment. Let's throw a granada. Boom! The pro strat, by the way, when you throw a grenade is to not look at the explosion while you throw the grenade. Hence why I've turned around, because it reduces lag. Cool, girls, don't look at explosions. This sort of stretch that I'm walking through here actually cannot produce a random encounter. If it seems like I'm getting through pretty far without getting one, that's normal. For some reason, that sort of narrow stretch can't generate an encounter, but it can now. We're about at the place where it's going to give me one. Okay, maybe I am actually getting pretty far without an encounter. There you go. Ooh, 3-dude moment. No, absolutely not. That's a grenade moment. Pure grenade moment. 3 dudes. Having none of that, mate. Collect me another red first aid spray. Stockpiling these more for safety reasons than anything. I think I have far more than I need at this point, but that's okay. It's much better to have too many than too few. Pick up another grenade. Our instant win button for the final section. Oh, multi-dude, multi-dude, multi-dude! Ow. You kind of just have to wait for the grenade to go off, and sometimes enemies can, like, sneak a hit in before that happens. Level up. The level ups aren't that important at this point, but it's just nice to have the health refill, I guess. Oh! Hidden first aid spray. I didn't mean to pick that up, but okay. It was hiding in bush. Ooh, that's late. Multi-dude, multi-dude, multi... Oh no, single dude. All the single dudes. the rudeness. Oh, I threw off my aim really badly too. It's going to take 3 hits. Oh, no, it didn't. Never mind. Single dude is good luck. Because obviously it's a fast encounter. And it preserves grenades. What does D2 mean? Nothing. It's just the name of the game. This is like the most commonly asked question whenever I play this game. It's nothing to do with the game itself. It's like, what's the game name? Is it Diablo 2? It's like, no, D2 is just what it's called. That's just the name of the game. It does not stand for... Okay, actually it does stand for something, but that's not important. It's not like the name of the game is short for something. Single dude moment again. That's lucky. If I run low on grenades, as in I run out of grenades, I am just gonna start shotgunning dudes because that's the only option if you run out. And you will run out. You generally always run out of grenades by the end of Death Mountain, but that's fine because this is the last part of the game. Only the first D is short for Dino Shokutaku. D2, like, this is a Japanese copy of D2, and D2's Japanese name is, get ready for it, D2.
The real question is, why do they only make D2 on the Dreamcast while D1 is seemingly like, what, on 3DO, PS1, PC, Saturn?
I actually know the answer to that question, funnily enough. It's because Kenji Eno and Sega had a pretty tight partnership.
Oh.
So the story goes is that when... I'm going to tell you a story. This is a story time about development. The first D, Sony did not treat the first D very well, and Kenji Eno was running basically an independent game studio before that was really a viable commercial strategy. So Sony did not produce enough copies for D to meet, like, orders, and Kenji Eno was upset about it. And because Kenji Eno had a bit of a rock star personality, there's an infamous story about how when he announced his next game, which was Enemy Zero, which is like sort of the middle game in the D series, he announced the end of the Enemy Zero trailer had a PlayStation logo that slowly morphed into a Sega Saturn logo live on the E3 trade floor. Sadly, no surviving footage of this exists, but multiple sources confirm that's a real thing that he did. He had the Sega president at the time crash the stage and say, "Welcome to Sega!" He did that. And that is why D2 became a Dreamcast game, because by that point he was like... He was friends with people at Sega, basically. Sony did not treat their port of D very well. He basically told them to get lost and went to be good friends with Sega. That's the story. And that's why D2 became a Dreamcast game.
Alright.
There's a middle step there. It was originally planned to be a Panasonic M2 game, if you can believe that, but that console got canned, and so it got reworked into a Dreamcast game, but that middle step actually isn't very important. But it is a thing that happened.
You know,
I still have 2 grenades. This is incredibly good luck. Am I going to get one more encounter, or am I just good to go? I might just be good to go.
Also, that reminded me to check, and that's relevant, because Punchy, do you know I'm something of a Sega friend myself? Sega still follows me on Twitter.
They don't follow me on Twitter. I like their games,
I don't know why
too.
they follow me on Twitter, but they do.
Okay, I got to the top of Death Mountain with 2 grenades left in stock, which I've never had happen before. That was quite good luck going up Death Mountain. We're on the final boss now. We're in the final boss. And also, this boss is a photosensitivity warning. Like, seriously.
Thank you for that.
Like, if you are photosensitive, do not look at this. I am not joking. It gets real bad real fast.
Oh, God, that is some siren level,
It gets worse. It gets worse. And then it gets better.
Oh.
But it gets worse before it gets better.
Why is it always the final boss from that, what's that game? Kirby... the crystal one.
One of the... You think I know?
No, actually. It looks like a Kirby final boss for some reason. It's weird.
Do I look like I know what a Kirby is?
Maybe.
I I play D2 on Sega Dreamcast. I don't know what Kirby is. Okay, so we're fighting the final boss. We're just kind of shooting him in the eyes. We're getting into cutscenes where he's sort of like taunting Laura, and he's going, ah, ha, 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 you cannot beat me, Laura. And like that's sort of the sum total of the interactions here. And the flashing stuff gets more intense.
You know, I remember when we were fighting a plant chick earlier, and that felt about right, and now it just sort of looks like... I see the Be Not Afraid. It looks like a biblical angel.
I think it might actually be something like that. All right, now the photosensitivity has ended for the time being because the boss has stolen our sight. We cannot see anymore. That's the gimmick of this fight. It steals your sight. I am now flying blind. As is Laura. We skip a cutscene where the boss taunts us like, we have now stolen your sight, and now we will steal your hearing. Because it's going to do that next. It's going to steal our hearing. Which means this boss, this is not a glitch, this is not a bug. Do not adjust your set. You just can't see the boss or hear it anymore. This is a black screen.
I like how his health bar vanished.
I'm hitting. It vanished because he did a cutscene super, so I took damage. But you can't see or hear the cutscene super because we're blind and deaf. But I'm hitting, so don't worry about it. This is another cutscene super. Don't worry about it. I'm going to take more damage. I should probably heal.
Well, we have a lot of blindfold emotes in chat right now, so that's always fun.
Is this Earthbound? It's very much in that sort of world, isn't it? Let me eat the meat. I've had the meat in my inventory this whole time. This is working as intended. I promise this is normal. I think I got another cutscene super. I did. Unfortunate. Losing time. The damage the cutscene super does is random. That's why I picked up some healing items, because this can be very rude. Okay, now it fades out to another cutscene. And now that he's stolen our sight and our hearing, he will steal our life. You will die, Laura. That's how this goes. So our health has been reduced to 1. I've decided to remedy that real quick.
The real question is, why even take the eyes if you're just going to kill him anyway?
I don't know, he's like taunting us. He's like doing a symbolic thing. Okay, so now we cannot move or hear or see, but it's okay. It's okay. We have to wait for a voice to speak. And by that I mean I need to wait for the wind. Because like literally the second the voice line starts is when I can play. There it is. Compact is now in my inventory with the flower. A compact with a flower in it spawns in the inventory. This is meaningful symbolism for the plot in a way I honestly forget about. I don't know what it symbolizes, I'm sorry. Someone would have started speaking to us there if I let them finish talking, but this is a speedrun if you haven't noticed. The boss reacts very strangely to us using the flower. I don't know what using means in this context. Laura. Imada. That voice that we've heard is a male voice that has been speaking to Laura throughout the game. I have not mentioned him thus far, because there hasn't really been a good time to. But remember that voice. Oh, photosensitive wing is back, by the way. The photosensitive, like, duck and hide right now. This is really bad. But it's brief, mercifully, but oh, baby. Rave.
Oh, God. Let's say a Grateful Dead concert.
And that is the final boss defeated, but it's not time. Time is on final input. And oh boy, is the final input for this game. Well, I made the decision to end time here, and honestly, this was a mistake. So the final scene in this game, post-final boss, is this white screen where a voice is going to talk at Laura for, no joke, like 2 minutes. And final input is after this. So, this is the end of the run, more or less. Thank you very much for watching. Feels weird to do this before time is called, but this is unique. If you enjoyed the run, please drop me a follow on twitch.tv/punchy. That's where I'm at. I do runs of nonsense like this with some degree of regularity. And if you want to run this game yourself, I would love to say there's like a guide or a helpful community or something, but no, I'm like the only person who runs this game. And I don't know, please help me figure out something. Please help me figure out stuff. I don't know what's going on.
I looked it up. The game costs like $200 for me, so if I obtain the game, I will run it.
The American copy is super expensive.
Oh, that reminds me of Galarians and another game I bought recently. I got Seaman recently.
I would just get a JP copy.
I don't have a JP Dreamcast.
Nope, not done talking yet. The final input is on Laura's... When Laura finally speaks, she speaks a final word when I press A, once this weirdo is done talking at me. And the final input is the final word, is what D2 stands for. Because it does stand for something, it does mean something, but the game is still called that. This dialogue exchange, by the way, is a whole lot of, to save the world, you know, use your power and... I'm not going to translate this for you.
I'm gonna have to tell me the word out loud, because I'm not gonna lie, whenever I watch any of the runs on this show, I'm always watching without audio.
I will, don't worry about it.
Okay.
He's asking, do you remember? Do you remember his name? To save everyone.
I swear it's like if it's Dave or something.
To save everyone. To save everyone's souls. To save your souls. You must call his name. His name. Laura. Yobinasai. Yobeo. Hayaku. Yobeo. Yobeo. Laura. Laura. David. Time.
Wait a minute, it's Dave. Kind of
Time.
Dave.
David.
Time. Did you
D2 stands for David.
Hold on.
What was the time on that run?
156 something.
Seriously?
Yeah, I gotta go 156.
Why?
I don't know.
Did I just set world record during Hotfix?
You did. I'm pretty sure you did, unless you have a VOD stored somewhere. Let's see. D2.
No, my world record is 157 on the dot. 156? Why? Why?
Yeah, according to what we have, 156.06.
But I like stood around and looked at the funky dude. What do you mean I got 156?
It's called RNG manipulation.
What do you mean I got 156?
Hey, can we get like a tweet now continuing the trend of the GDQ world record? Because like we're still not that far out from GDQ. It's still the month of January.
Did you start time late?
No, we started it right when you went. You can retime the VOD if you need to, but yeah, I guess it is.
I was like, what do you mean I set record during this?
I can't believe you beat the only other runner also named Punchy.
I think it was because the Death Mountain RNG was really good. I finished with 2 grenades in pocket, which meant the encounters were really fast.
Yeah.
But like, that's whack. Because if I wasn't messing around for marathon purposes, that probably would have been like 154.
Well, that being said, if
it's a world record, though.
Find you? Where can they find? Let's plug yourself here. Where can they find you on not only Twitch but anywhere if they wanted to find you?
Twitch is at twitch.tv/punchy. My Twitter is at @succinct_punchy. It's succinct spelled SUCCINCT_punchy. People don't know how to spell that word, so there you go. And my YouTube is at punchy /punchyYT, which I guess is where this VOD is going to end up going now as well, including the Hotfix channel, because this is a world record now. That's embarrassing somehow. Like, I'm kind of embarrassed.
Well, clearly it was the parked pun that we made. That's going to be in your VOD. I hope you're happy with that.
I did get really good luck, though, is the thing. Like, I actually did. All the boss fights were pretty good. That helped. I didn't think about that, but all the boss fights were actually pretty good. That definitely helped.
All right. Well, I guess we ended way ahead than we thought. Or decently ahead, I should say. So,
I'm not sure how to end that off now. Like, yeah, like...
how much... Go ahead.
I'm good. I got nothing else I want to plug. I'm not sure how to end this off now.
You can still watch the ending of the run if it's here. We have plenty of time. We're currently...
it's so long. The ending of this is like 20 minutes. I'm not kidding. You will not get through all of it.
Well, I do want to say once again, for anyone who has not checked out Punchy, please do so. Not only did he do a great run, he got world record in a game that I did not think he was going to get world record in.
Me neither. I didn't think I was going to get under 2 hours.
So there's that. Anyway, I guess we'll get ready for our next run. Once again, I do recommend checking out Punchy, a great person, great runner. And as well, if you're watching us over on YouTube, go on twitch.tv/GamesDoneQuick if you're interested in looking at our live content starting most nights at 7 p.m. Eastern. That being said, we're going to be right back very quick with our next and last run of the night, and we're going to take a quick wellness break. This is time to stand up, touch your toes, stretch your legs, and do what you generally need to do. We are going to be right back.
Thank you very much.